Welcome to the next installment in the Improve81 podcast series. My name is Jason Bond, and I'm the Communications Manager for the Virginia Department of Transportation's Salem District. For this podcast, we're going to be talking about VDOT's design, build, project delivery process. Joining me today to share some information about this topic are four members from the team that is working to deliver the projects that are a part of the I-81 Corridor Improvement Program. I'd like to start out by having each of you introduce yourself and give me your title.
I'm Rob Griffith, the Salem District Construction Engineer.
I'm Marty, Halloway, District Engineer for Megaprojects.
I'm Matt Dana. I'm the Staunton District Preliminary Engineering Manager.
And I'm Dave Covington, VDOT's I-81 Program Delivery Director.
I appreciate each of you taking the time to talk to me today about the design build projects. So I'll start with Dave. So what is VDOT's traditional method of delivering projects called?
So the traditional method that we've been using for a very long time is the design bid build process. We design the project, we bid it out or put it out for contractors to bid on, receive those bids, and then they construct the project. Historically, when you see a project along our interstates or our roadways, there's a very good probability that we used a design bid build process to deliver that project.
So Rob, how is design build different from design bid build?
The primary difference between design build and design bid build would be the number of entities involved in the project. In a design build project, VDOT would contract with one entity to perform the design and the construction of the project, whereas Dave described in a design bid build project, VDOT would either be the designer or consult the designing services out under one contract and then go under construction with a different firm.
So in our traditional design bid build process, where does a builder come into the picture? At the last stage, the construction stage. Under a design build process, where does a builder come into the picture? In the design phase. So what we're doing is we're integrating a builder partnered with a designer and other ancillary services much earlier in the project development process.
So what are the steps of VDOT's project development process?
So the first step is planning. This is a very initial phase where we're just trying to figure out what should this project look like. This is where we're gathering a little bit of data. We're talking to localities, we're talking to users, we're talking to anyone that we can to figure out what is a problem that we're trying to solve with this project. It's a very important step, but it is very preliminary in nature. From the planning phase, we move into the preliminary engineering and environmental evaluation phase. So we've learned a little bit about what the need is. Now we need to start transitioning toward a design process, and that preliminary engineering and environmental evaluation phase is when we're going out in the field and collecting survey data, pavement data. We're doing obviously some initial investigation into what environmental resources exist and what we want to try to avoid. So again, it's the data gathering phase, but a little more detailed in nature. And then we move into the design phase. The next step is moving into the right-of-way and utility coordination phase. So this is where we're acquiring any needed right-of-way. That includes easements. And we're also coordinating with utility companies to relocate any utilities that might be in the way of the design that we just finished. And then the next step is the construction phase.
What about the steps of VDOT's project delivery process? Do they still exist under design build?
Absolutely. Every VDOT project follows the same project development process. As we've been discussing here about design build, the primary difference is when does the builder become involved in the project. During our traditional process, as we talked earlier, VDOT is responsible all the way through advertisement for construction, whereas in design build, VDOT will do the planning, preliminary engineering, and some environmental work, and then we'll bring a design build firm on to complete the project with VDOT oversight, of course.
So Marty, does design build delivery provide benefit to the taxpayers or to the traveling public?
Yes, I think it does. Bringing that contractor on earlier and having that early collaboration, it helps us to reduce the time, reduce the cost. It also reduces the user cost as well through all that. But it's that collaboration between the contractor and the engineer that helps us to improve and make efficiencies and make the project more effective, that lets us start work sooner as opposed to the linear process that Dave previously described with a design bid build project. The teamwork component between the engineer and the contractor, the builder, starts early because they're having the team to go all in for this project and to be able to bid and compete with other teams. But then also I like the team aspect and the teamwork when you introduce the VDOT team members as well, because at that point you have a really good program and you have a really good atmosphere for solving problems as opposed to bringing problems to the tables. You're bringing the solutions. And then another benefit I think that's key is the open and transparent communications. That has to start early with the design builder and his team, but also with VDOT, being able to be clear in our expectations and what we expect, and laying all that out and being able to have those true hard conversations with our team. And then also I think just working out the risk earlier, being able to dive into that, identify that, and design out those risks as opposed to designing and then working through the risk with the contractor.
Are there any drawbacks to design build?
I wouldn't say they're drawbacks. I would look at them as more as opportunities and challenges for our teams. The one thing I would look at is I think the risk to the owner itself is a little bit higher because we're relinquishing some of our control. I think it requires a high level of trust and communication. And the earlier you can establish that, because the first third of any project is always the toughest part of the project, and establishing that trust and communication is really critical and crucial. And if it doesn't happen, then your chances of success are very slim. Also, I think the fast-paced delivery method presents opportunities for more errors if you're not careful and you don't have the right controls and things in place to help you overcome that.
And Jason, I would just add that I agree with what Marty just said. And I don't think that there's an inherent drawback to the design, build, delivery method. But I think one of the pitfalls that can happen is if you apply the wrong delivery method to the wrong project. So it's really important to identify projects that could take advantage of the innovation and the involvement of a builder during the design phase of a project. But if it's not a project that offers that opportunity, there's a lot of different ways that this can kind of spiral out of control if we're not careful. So I think matching the right delivery process with the right project is the key to success.
So Matt, are there any variations to the design build process?
There's two major variations to the process. We have a single phase process. We select the qualified team based on low price. So it's essentially on price alone. The other process is our two-phase or best value process. In that process, the teams are evaluated and scored based on their qualifications, the qualifications of the engineer, the contractor, their experience on similar projects. And then that score is taken along with the price and combined to select the winning team.
How are design build evaluations performed?
We get a diverse team to look at the technical or the qualifications of the design build teams, and we shortlist that group of teams into 3 firms. So we select 3 firms. Then we ask them to submit technical proposals that have more information and more design information. We evaluate those proposals and score them, and then based on that score as well as their price, we select the successful design build team.
So Dave, how does VDOT oversee the design phase in design build?
Oversight is key in a design build process. I mean, we as the owner, so to speak, are responsible for performing diligent oversight. In the design phase, success really starts with good contract requirements. So we build a request for proposals that we provide to the offerers that kind of lays out the guidelines for that project. What are we expecting to receive? What are we expecting to deliver? How are we expecting to do that? So laying out the technical requirements and also what we call bridging documents. The bridging documents are the plans that we develop to roughly 20 to 30% design phase that help the design build offerers who are proposing on the project to understand what it is we're trying to achieve. The next step is really plan review. So we've executed a contract with the design build team. They're working through the design process, and it is our responsibility at VDOT to review the plans that they're developing along the way. So we have milestones that we establish in those contract requirements, generally associated with 30%, 60%, 90%, and 100% design stages, where we require the design builder to submit the plans to us. We review them diligently, provide feedback to help make sure that we are constantly steering a design build team in the right direction. If a design build team submits a package that they would like to start construction on, unless we're in full agreement with that approach, we don't issue a notice to proceed to construct that item. So we don't just send a contractor out there and say, go build it, let us know when you're done. We are with them every step of the way.
How does VDOT oversee the construction phase in design build?
So, Jason, during our traditional design bid build project, VDOT performs what we call quality control and quality assurance. So during a design build project, we shift that responsibility over to the design build team. At this point, as owner of the project, we perform what we coin independent verification or assurance testing, or owner verification and assurance testing. So we perform these inspections at key points and milestones to ensure compliance with project plans and specifications. We also pay very close attention to the project schedule and monitor projects. So our role during the design build is a little lesser, but ever more important during the delivery of a design build project.
So Matt, how many design build projects has VDOT delivered?
VDOT's delivered 89 design build projects to date. Our first project was in 2004. So we've been in the business of working with contractors and engineers using the design build process for almost 20 years now, and we have a substantial number of projects under our belt. So VDOT, as well as the construction industry, has a lot of experience with design build. Specific to the I-81 corridor, the project in Marion, the single-phase project, that is complete. The two-stage project in Salem, that's along 81 from mile 137 to 141, that's underway. The two-stage project in Staunton that goes through the Staunton area, that was recently awarded to a design-build contractor. We expect there to be at least 6 more projects along the I-81 corridor that use the design-build process.
What does the design and construction industry think of design build?
By and large, industry is very supportive of design build projects and VDOT's design build program. But as we've discussed today, it's very important to everyone involved that we select the right projects. That's the key to success of any design build project. Industry is looking for opportunities to use their expertise and innovation to deliver the best project at the best price. From VDOT's perspective, we strive to be clear on the project scope while offering as much flexibility as possible to allow for creative project delivery.
So Jason, if I could add a couple things here. VDOT and industry have kind of built this program together. I remember the first design build project that I worked on. I was not a VDOT employee. I was working with a design builder. Was very much a learning process. And what it really emphasized was the need for true partnering. And what I mean by that is, sometimes partnering becomes, okay, who's going to supply the donuts at this meeting? That's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is everybody focused with a clear objective in mind at the end of the day, and that's delivering a project safely and efficiently. And what I've seen from the industry over the years is some skepticism at first, but then it kind of turned into some excitement. And I think that industry has adapted. Engineers have learned how to work with builders. Builders have learned how to work with engineers. It's amazing how similar the builders and the engineers talk now. You know, they're speaking about the same thing. They're not talking about completely different things. So I think it's been a long process, and I think it's going to get better as we move forward. I really do. We're in a good position now, and I see upside ahead.
And I would agree with Dave. For Bristol, it's brought new talent to the area, which has brought challenges with us to help in that some of that hand-holding, that encouraging, that learning together. The last design build we done, we had a brand new project manager, we had a brand new team. Was a really good success story. Everybody jumped in, all hands on, finished and wrapped up the project and done a really great job. As David alluded to, it is a learning, growing process, and there's so many things as engineers we don't like to break out of our norms and try and test. And when you're put into that design build atmosphere, you're pushed to really think and go back to being creative, being innovative, and apply a good solution.
Well, I want to thank all of you for taking the time today to talk to me about VDOT's design build project delivery process. For future podcasts, videos, and more information about the Interstate 81 Corridor Improvement Program in Virginia, visit Improve81.org. And as always, we wish you safe travels.